That Emo Chick. I just wanted to give a quick introduction to kind of start off my channel. I wanted to like explain where my username came from and let you guys get to know me a little bit, little glimpse into who I am and why I'm doing this. So I wanted to start off just kind of explaining my username a little bit. My name is V, and I clearly have pink hair, and I'm very like punk rock, scene, emo. I always have been. That used to be my goal. Like when people would call me emo, I was like, oh my god, I've done it! Like I'm the perfect version of myself. So the other day I was talking to one of my coworkers and she said she had mentioned to me to her brother, and she was like, oh yeah, V, blah 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 blah. And her brother went, oh, that emo chick? And I just lost my mind, cracking up. That was always my goal in high school, in middle school, like even after high school. Like I love expression of both my personality and myself. So I am 20 years old. I have always been really into creating and acting and dancing and singing and all those kinds of things. And I feel like right now it's a really good time to get started in YouTube. You know, it's really easy, it's really accessible, they have a lot of resources for people to get started, and I feel like it's a really great way to kind of segue into doing a lot of other creative stuff. I know like a lot of YouTubers will write books or write music or things like that. A lot of them end up doing other creative stuff, and I know that a lot of people really do enjoy my stories. So I actually had another one of my friends tell me, you know, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. So I figure I might as well start doing this for fun. I'm gonna share my world views and hope that I get some views on that. So with all that out of the way, I just wanted to start off today, my first video kind of being a paranormal one on this channel. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences. I'm a big believer in that kind of stuff. So if you don't believe it, I don't really care, but if you want to hear about my experiences, you can go ahead and keep watching. Great. So now that we got all of that fun stuff out of the way and you know why I am that emo chick, as you probably found out that my apartment is haunted. And I know a lot of people say that and a lot of people make videos about that, and it's one of those like, it's not freaking haunted, Linda, get your head out of your ass. But I really truly do think my apartment is haunted. So the building that I live in, my boyfriend and I have lived here for almost 3 years now, so we've been here for quite a while, and this building is actually one of the oldest buildings in our town. So we live in a small town in rural Minnesota, and it has not been around for that long. It's not too small, it's a pretty good size. It has about 10,000-ish people, something like that. So it's not tiny, but it's by no means a big town. And a lot of it is, you know, newer developments that are on kind of the outskirts of the town. So this town here, I believe, has been around since, I want to say like 1950 maybe, something like that. But it was a very small town of farmers for the longest time, up until probably about 20 years ago. So the building that I'm in is one of the oldest buildings in town, besides like the town hall and the church. And there's this one like really weird Catholic school, and I'm pretty sure it's haunted, and I really want to go explore it, but I don't know how to get in there because it's in the middle of town on the busiest street. So there's no real like sneaking in there because it's literally like on a highway across from a McDonald's. So if I can ever figure out a way to get in there and you guys want to see it, feel free to drop a comment, let me know. But anyways, so besides that, this is one of the older buildings in the town. It was built in, I believe it was finished in 1970, so it's been around for like almost 50 years, which doesn't seem that old, but when you think about how few, you know, apartment complexes this town has and how like recently most of the buildings were built, it is one of the older ones. So also over the last like 10-20 years, like this building has mainly just been older people. The building that we're in right now, there's two buildings in this complex. So the one that we're in right now is pretty much filled with like 20-somethings because all the old people died and moved out. So within the last 2 years, it's been filled with people that are my age, college students and the like. We have a couple of families in here, but all the old people died. So that's really fun and makes everybody feel great to know that a bunch of people freaking died here. So it's not too far-fetched that this kind of stuff would be happening. So first things first, there's always just an obscene amount of knocking, and I know this is like an apartment complex, so you could just chalk it up to that, and most of the time I do. I just ignore it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Get out of my house. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm busy. I'm tired. I work full time. I just want to go to bed. So I normally just ignore it, but particularly in our second bedroom, ever since we moved in, like the first day that we moved in, I remember like, you know, walking through and being like, oh my gosh, we have our own apartment. We have our own apartment. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. And walking through and, you know, like going into this second bedroom and just suddenly feeling just this awful vibe of like, I just felt really uncomfortable and really scared. It's always like 20 degrees colder than the rest of the house. And actually, my boyfriend and I were homeless at the time that we moved in here, so we actually had no stuff. I'm talking like we had 2 backpacks of clothes and nothing else. So our first night in our apartment, we literally slept on the floor using a backpack as a pillow. So we were like, we decided to sleep in that room because we're like, oh, this one's a little bit smaller, so we can turn on the heat and it'll be a little bit warmer than it would be if we were to sleep in one of the bigger rooms. So we were in there and I was terrified. Like, I kept like seeing stuff out of the corner of my eye, and I kept hearing like this knocking, and at the time nobody lived upstairs from us. So I kept hearing like footsteps and stuff, and I was like, this is so messed up, like I'm so scared. So we ended up having to move, and we slept in our living room instead, which was absolutely freezing in October in Minnesota, and it was like 30 degrees outside, and we had no blankets, no bed, no nothing. It was freezing, it was awful, but I was so scared of that freaking room. So besides that, we've had like a lot of issues with like, you know, electronics not working. Sometimes like all the lights will just turn off and I go think it's the breaker, so I go check the breaker and that's not, like nothing's moved on it, so I have to turn everything off and turn it back on and then it works. Or randomly lights will flicker, or like in our hallway and stuff, we have a couple of lights that go out literally every week. Like we have had them check it for a short, we changed the light bulbs, like we've re-screwed stuff, and it literally goes out like, and there's nothing we can do. So we've just given up. Usually our hallway is really, really dark because we have just given up changing the stupid light bulbs that keep going out. Also, we've had stuff like pipes. I know in the bedroom I'm in right now, actually our master bedroom, for the longest time, the pipe in the wall in my closet was leaking. So we actually couldn't be in this room for about a year that we were living here because my landlord's, you know, a piece of crap and like wouldn't fix it for the longest time. It finally got fixed and now we're back in here and this is the room we prefer. We love it. I feel like it's very much filled with like a good energy. I really love being in here, you know, ever since we moved in. So this is like almost going on 3 years now that we've lived here. I've had this feeling that there's like something there. You know, when we first moved in, we checked everything, did the thing where you like fill out all the stuff and like, oh, blah, blah, blah. There's this stain on the carpet and the like door's broken and blah, 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 so that you don't get charged for, you know, like the wear and tear that was already there when you moved in. So we went through this and, you know, crossed off like all the stuff. We're like, oh, there's this stain on the carpet. There's a hole in the blinds. Like the blinds in this room aren't working. Like the door on this is all scratched up. So keep in mind, we went through like every inch of this house and wrote down every single little thing that was wrong so that we wouldn't get charged for it, because we put a lot of money down here. And we really want that security deposit back once we do finally move. So about 2 months after living here, my cousin and her boyfriend at the time had come over, you know, just to hang out, because I moved out when I was very young. I was moved out when I was 17. So I actually was one of the first of most of my friends to live on my own. So a lot of the time people will come over, or would, now everybody's older and living on their own, but you know, at the time people would come over and be like, we can do this or we can do that, and like there's so much freedom here, we can stay up all night, we can just like go to McDonald's at 2 in the morning, and so everyone always loved coming over. So she just came over to hang out with her then boyfriend, and he at one point in the night had walked up to us and said like, oh, was this door like epoxied shut when you moved in? And we were like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, you see all this residue on the door? But he's like, you see all this like glue stuff on the door? Like, yeah, that's, it looks like epoxy. Like, it looks like this like resin stuff. And we go over and look at it, and there's just like these black drops down the door. And again, I'll put in a picture for you guys, but they're like dripping. It looked like it was dripping down the door, and it's on the door and the door frame, and it was not there when we moved in because we checked every square inch of this freaking house. I tell you, I swear to God, we checked every inch of this house, and it was not there. So after 2 months, we were like, okay, there's freaking ectoplasm coming out of our walls. Like, that's terrifying. And actually, for the first, I think, 6 months that we lived here, we actually kept that door completely closed. I was like, I'm not going near that. I don't want to go in there. No, thank you. Leave me alone. So we actually didn't go in there at all until we went on this one camping trip, and actually the faucet in our bathroom, our bathtub, actually would run pretty much constantly, and we would have to get it fixed like every month. So we actually went on vacation once, and we had called them before, and they'd just come and fixed it. And so when we got back, the faucet was running like fully, like as if someone had turned it on all the way, but it was off. And it was running hot water, so our whole bathroom was filled with steam and bugs, and like the paint was peeling off the walls, and there's like mold everywhere because this had been running for like 4 days while we were camping. And it wasn't doing it when we left. So we came back and we were like absolutely pissed. We were like, are you kidding? Like, you need to fix this. You've already been in here like 3 or 4 times. Like, just replace the pipe. I don't care. Get this out of my freaking house. Like, and at this point, like the bathroom faucet or the bathtub faucet is the access like hatch is in our closet in our master bedroom. So they ended up like replacing it, fixing it, and actually there was water pouring out of the back of the pipe instead of the front of the pipe, so it was pouring directly into the bottom of our closet. So it ruined a bunch of clothes, ruined a bunch of shoes, ruined the literal whole carpet. We still have giant water stains. Like, there's not even carpet in the closet because they had to rip it out, and they still have not replaced it, and it's been 6 months, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, so our carpet is just like ruined. So after that was probably like 6 or 7 months after we moved here. We couldn't stay in here because there was freaking mold and hot water, and the carpet had like an inch of standing water on it. So obviously like we couldn't stay in here. So we actually moved our bed and stuff into the other bedroom, which is terrible, and I hate being in there. So then every night I would get so angry because when we would go to bed, a lot of the time my boyfriend would either already be sleeping or not even be home because for a while, you know, we were both working 2 jobs. So a lot of the time he was already sleeping because he would work in the morning, and I wouldn't get home until like 11 or 12 at night, or go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. As soon as I would lay down, you know, everything would be normal for maybe like 10-15 minutes. And then as soon as I was like trying to fall asleep, I would start hearing this just tapping, and it was just like on next to my head. Like next to my head in my second bedroom. And I was always like, I thought it was my boyfriend, like, you know, like hitting the wall in his sleep or like tapping with his foot or something like that. So I'd wake him up and I'd be like, stop doing that. Like, stop doing that. I'm trying to sleep. Like, cut it out. Stop it. And he would just like wake up and be like, why are you waking me up? What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. Like, what do you mean? And I would be like, listen, and it would stop and it would go away, and then he'd fall back asleep and it would start up again. And it always made me so angry that at some point I would eventually just be like, oh my God, shut the F up. Like, I'm trying to freaking sleep here. I could get up in 5 hours. And, you know, after a while, usually around like 4 in the morning, it would finally stop. And if I were ever home alone, like I could hear it from the living room. You know, I can normally only hear it in the bedroom, but if I was home alone, and I was sitting in the living room, which is like shares a wall, like our second bedroom's here, and this is like the wall of our living room, so the walls are like the same. So I could hear it like tapping, and it sounded like way louder when I was in there, but and so I always thought that was super freaking weird. And nothing really like works in there. My boyfriend actually had his laptop hooked up to the TV we had in there. It's kind of like an office room, and it wasn't hooked up to like a system or anything. We have a PS3 in our bedroom, and we have a PS4 in our living room. We didn't really have any systems to hook up to it, but we were like, oh, we want to like watch Netflix while we clean or while we paint or while we, you know, do whatever, work on stuff. So my boyfriend actually had his laptop like hooked up to the TV via like HDMI port. After 1 day of being in there, his laptop would not turn on. Like, it had been plugged in, he like restarted it, he unplugged it, he put it in a different outlet, like he tried everything. He was like, great, I'm gonna have to buy a new laptop, this one's dead. Like, this is ridiculous, like, are you freaking kidding me? So then, like, he ended up taking it out. He, like, went into the living room and plugged it in, and it worked absolutely fine. Would not work in the bedroom. Still won't work in the bedroom. Just turns black and won't turn on. My phone will die when I go in there. Like, even if it's at, like, 35%, it will die within 15 minutes of being in that room. It's always like 10 degrees colder than the rest of our house. Like we put our space heater in there. Like we put a bunch of stuff in there to try to keep the bunny warm. We have some plants in there and stuff. And like, obviously we live in Minnesota, so like it's absolutely frigid in the winter. So it gets really, really cold in there. Like I'm talking no warmer than like 40 degrees. Like the heat doesn't really work in our apartment. So most of the time, our apartment, like we're lucky if it's like 60 degrees, but like that bedroom, honey, we're lucky if it is 40 degrees in there, and it is absolutely ridiculous. Like there's no reason for it to be that cold. And like all the time, like stuff will go missing and we'll find it in there, or you know, we won't be able to find something and it'll show up in a different spot, and like all this weird stuff. Like one time we were trying to find, we were actually going camping this last summer, and we were trying to find our stupid air mattress pump. And, you know, I'd put it in with the camping stuff, and it wasn't in our camping stuff, wasn't in our closet, wasn't in our toolbox, it wasn't anywhere that we normally keep these kind of things. And so, you know, like after we had gotten back, we went into the bedroom to look for something, into that second bedroom, and we actually found it just sitting on the desk. And neither of us had been in there or had moved anything or at all, and there's just the friggin' air pump we were looking for like 3 days on the desk. And you know, that kind of stuff happens all the time. Like actually just recently too, I was looking for my gym bag, and we keep all of our backpacks and stuff in our front closet. So we have like, I have like 2 backpacks, he has a backpack, I have like 2 gym bags, we have some duffel bags. Like we just keep that stuff like in the front closet so that we can like really easily find it when we go and do stuff. So that's always where we keep those things. Like that has been like constant since we moved here, and we've lived here for almost 3 years. So I'm looking for my gym bag, and I like pulled apart the whole closet. I pulled everything out. I took out all the shoes, all the bags, all the games, literally everything in our front closet. Could not find it. I was like, maybe I left it in the bedroom closet, like after we, like in our master bedroom after we went on this trip. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll find it here. And so I pull out our whole closet. It's not in our closet. I look in the linen closet. I look in every freaking closet, and I cannot find this thing literally anywhere. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's in the second bedroom. We don't keep anything in there. Like we don't keep stuff in there. We have the bunny stuff in there now, but we don't keep any other clothes or anything in there. And so I go in there, and sure enough, there it is, like under all the stuff in the closet, like literally under a bunch of pairs of shoes. Like why would I put a bag under shoe boxes? Like there's no way, no possible way that I put that stuff there. So anyways, that's the story of the absolutely horrible and annoying poltergeist that I have in my house. I don't know if it actually is just the building that's haunted, or if someone died here, or if it's some grumpy old man that hates young people and he just wants us to leave him the frick alone, or if it's, you know, I've had a suspicion for a long time that I carry a lot of entities in psychic power with me, so I don't know if I'm haunted or if the room's haunted or what's going on. But anyway, around, it's horrible and awful, and I hate it. So alright, well that's it for this time. Thanks for tuning in to watch my very first video on YouTube. I'm planning on uploading on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week. So if you want to tune in, just make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Since I'm not going to be uploading every day, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can know when I do put up videos. I really hope you enjoy them. I hope you are as ready for this journey as I am. I'm very excited to start doing this, and I'm super excited to put some of my creative talent to use. If you guys have any videos that you would like to see me do, or any topics you would like to see me cover, just make sure you go ahead and leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, just so I know you know, how I'm doing and how people are liking this, because I am really excited to start this, and I would love to get some positive feedback. So in the description of the video, I will have a link to all of my social media. So I'll have a Twitter, Instagram, I have a Facebook page, I have a business email, I have all of this stuff set up. So if you want to contact me in any way, shape, or form, you can go right ahead. If you follow me, you will be getting sneak peeks at the videos and what they're going to be, as well as a couple little fun things here and there, hopefully a few extras. I will be making a Snapchat very, very soon for this channel, so if you want to follow me on that, that will be in future videos. So thank you guys so much for spending this nice little 20-minute time with me, and I absolutely hope that you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you live your lives with love and peace and happiness, and do everything you can to make your life as bright as it can possibly be. So I'll see you next time.